Hello, Curious Wanderers. Welcome to my newest video. So today I'm doing another Photoshop drawing. This time around, I didn't feel like using the little dummy that I usually use to pick out a pose. I was just kind of in the mood to to improv, I suppose. So I guess to you, my viewers, you would be experiencing what drawing is like to me when I don't use any any reference for the pose or anything like that. So it's basically a lot of adjusting. I basically tried to sketch out the idea of the pose. Then once I did that pretend practice sketch, I suppose, then I actually do like a quick sketch of what I'm looking for, and I'm usually not satisfied with that either. So then this is me actually doing a more refined final cut, I suppose, final decision. I don't consider myself good at drawing hands at all, but I don't know if maybe I could show how I draw hands, but I don't think that'd be very particularly helpful. But honestly, I just I draw a little flat box, and then I just decide where the fingers are, and then I just kind of round them out. So it's not really anything fancy. I like them to look fairly simple. I feel like sometimes we overcomplicate hands, and then it makes it look even worse. But hands are a challenge. I think one of the reasons hands are so hard to draw is because they're the part of our body that we see the most. We don't walk around with mirrors, right? So every time you do something, you're looking at your hands while you're doing them, or at least that's how I feel about it. So I feel like we see hands so much that although we might have a vague, or I guess a stylized view of everything else of the body, I feel like hands are something where we tend to almost too closely know what they look like. So having this stylized version of a hand is almost a little harder to pull off because we're so familiar with what they look like. But that's just a thought I had. I don't know if it's true or not, but I just think it's interesting to think of. When I'm drawing, the line art is really the majority of the work. I'm not a master colorist or anything. I actually quite enjoy a simple coloring style, which I assume might be from my interest in watching cartoons and animated movies and all that. I enjoy that straightforward coloring style, and but I find the line art I get really fussy about, so I tend to take a long time doing that. If you guys use Photoshop to sketch like this, I'm just curious if anyone else has this tendency I have, where instead of inking to create the line, I tend to create the line and then erase to smooth out the line instead. I feel like I work kind of I'm working a lot by subtraction instead of addition. And I'm just curious if it's Photoshop that makes this particularly tempting to do. But you'll notice if you're paying attention to I know it's going by really fast, but when I sketch a line, I tend to make the lines wider to get the shape that I want, and then you can see here, I then erase the sides of the line to make it look smoother. Anyway, I'm just curious if a lot of people prefer doing that, or if you guys actually prefer making a thin line and then thickening the thin line out. Just curious about different inking styles. And yeah, so as per the norm, I tend to draw the body first so that it makes it more makes it more believable when I drape the clothes over it. As a person who studied sculpture, I tend to think of things very like I want to give things shape. So that's one of the reasons why I work in layers like this. Is I almost feel like there has to be a skeleton under the skin, and there has to be there has to be like a body under the clothes. You know, it's like, to me, it feels important to give that shape to it. You know, that it feels round, especially since I draw, since I tend to draw in such a stylized way. I like to emphasize certain shapes and certain lines. Since I do like my lines to be very smooth, I like my colors to be fairly flat, but then I basically cell shade my my shading very. I don't do much soft shading at all, actually. Maybe a little bit in the eyes sometimes if I think of it, but honestly, I mostly just cell shade. I kind of like that, a little more dramatic shading and like pretty simple coloring. Seeing as much as I feel like it adds individuality to the characters, I still don't want to take away from the line art by it just being color, because the line art is something that I very much enjoy. I find a lot of comics and stuff don't have color at all, and like they're perfectly enjoyable like that. I don't want to go colorless because I enjoy color, but so this is kind of like the compromise in my head for the style that I'm trying to go with. Obviously, I don't think I have a specific style like yet. I'm hoping to work on that by drawing the same same characters like over and over, and in like a variety of positions or scenarios to try to practice, because like as I mentioned, I want to work towards making a comic with these characters. So I'm trying right now to work out a style that I could hopefully accomplish quickly, but not so quickly as to go completely out of my drawing style, because I like the way that I draw, but I don't draw very consistently. So right now I'm like trying to be more consistent by drawing the same characters over and over, and I'll see if that can help me improve on that consistency level. And I feel like if I start like practicing and repeating things, I'll eventually start getting tricks and, you know, shortcuts, or like I'll start like finding quicker ways of doing things. I mean, in the corner I put the first drawing I did of this character. Her name is Sookie, and she has this is her like normal form, but she has a succubus form, which is what I drew last time. The drawing I did last time, what's interesting about recording is you can see how many hours you've recorded of footage. So the last one had like over 8 hours of footage, and this one had 5.5 hours. So I feel like that's a significant improvement, even though this is only my second time drawing her. Although I have been practicing, like I drew Kira, and I've like been drawing some characters here and there. But yeah, I feel like even just drawing her the second time and having a better idea of what I'm doing is cutting down on time. So when I do actually finish writing the story and I start actually drawing it, I'm hoping that I would have practiced drawing enough that it doesn't take me like 10 years to draw the comic, you know, because it's a lot of work to draw some comics like that. Like, I admire people who already have comics going on for a while, or that have like finished books and stuff like that, because that's a lot of dedication. That's it's not an easy task. Like, even if you draw just like 1 page a day, like a 300-page comic would would easily be like a year with no days off, you know. And seeing as it takes me 5.5 hours just to do a simple one character drawing like this, I really do need to keep practicing and speed up my game. But anyway, so we're getting close to the end of the video, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.